Okay. We will now move on to consent.
All items on the consent calendar are considered routine or implement an earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested.
Thank you. Any items to pull for separate voting other than a comment? Marty?
Yes, I'd like to pull items E and F.
E and F. Thank you. Anything else from council?
I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, it's all right.
I got the, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Is there any action on the remainder of the consent?
Through the chair, I move that we approve the remainder.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve remainder of consent with the exception of E and F. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. 5-0 on voice. Okay, let's go on to item E, adopt resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the 2010 amendments to the water supply agreement with the city and the county of San Francisco wholesale customers in Alameda County, San Mateo County, and Santa Clara County. Marty.
So I pulled this item because this agenda was one of our bigger ones, 600 total pages plus. This item, the contract amendment, was 418 or so for the whole amount. And I felt that if we should have more of a discussion about what this really is. It is our water supply. I feel that in the time allocated, receiving the agenda packet in the Friday afternoon didn't allow me enough time, honestly, to get a better grasp of the details and understanding of what I was going to be voting for tonight. So if there is no rush for this item to be passed tonight, I would ask that we table the item. I don't know if that's possible, but I think it's this water. It's important, and so I was just checking to see if that was possible with staff and with the council's consent.
So I'm going to ask the city manager to respond or assign, but also if you could give a little flavor of what that is, because we say water supply, and I think people start to think, we're talking about our water system in San Bruno, and what does that mean? So maybe just a little bit to get us on the same page, and then any comments to the council members' question.
Sure. So what is before council is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute 2018 amendments to the water supply agreement with the city and county of San Francisco and the wholesale customers of various counties, Alameda, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. And so this is an action that is being put before us and multiple agencies. I will say that there is no urgency for the action to be taken tonight. We can adjourn this item and carry it over to the March 22nd meeting. However, there are a number of questions that the council member forwarded to staff this afternoon, and we do have answers to those. And so if it is completely the council's discretion, if you would like to have us answer some questions, we're ready and willing to do that. Or if you would like more time, we're amenable to that as well.
Okay, and that would, what you're saying is it can come back on the 26th, regular scheduled next council meeting. Was there other comments before I go back to Marty? Other comments or questions on item E? And then, Marty, you heard the manager, so would you still wish for more time? Do you want to have some of those addressed, or what was the preference?
If there's no objection to coming back to this later, I think that we could do that. We have a number of items still on our agenda tonight, and if for expediency we could save a little bit of time and then come back to it, I think that would, for me, be something that I'd like to do.
Okay, so you're asking for it to be tabled to the 26th. Any thought? Is council okay?
Through the chair, that's fine with me. I am the representative for the City of San Bruno on Bosco, the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency, and I've been on it for the last 15 years. So I can tell you that the agency itself and the staff there and the 26 members of the committee have vetted through this over the many, many months. So while I understand what you're saying, and I agree that if you need more time, that's fine. If you have some specific, as you're going through these, if any of you have some specific questions or like areas of concern, if you would forward those to me. I am attending a Bosco meeting next week, and I can make sure that the answers are there for you. Just in general, this is a long-standing water agreement between us and San Francisco. They own the Hetch Hetchy water system. We buy water from them, and then this details how, why, what the charges are, how they're calculated, those kinds of things. So that's basically it. So if you do have questions as you read through this, I would appreciate it if you send them to me with copies to the city manager, and we'll make sure we get the answers for you.
So it sounds like there's concurrence to go ahead and table it. I would ask that if there are questions to Irene, that it be sent to Irene only, not to the council, so that there is no violation of the Brown Act. In addition, I would ask, it being the 12th, and I know it's St. Patty's Day this weekend, but I would ask if council can have any and all questions presented to Irene and or with a CC to the city manager by the 18th, so they have adequate time to address those and make efficient use of their time, so everything can be brought back to the 26th and have action. Is that acceptable to council?
Through the chair?
Yes.
I just want to get some clarification from our attorney in terms of what would constitute a serial meeting. And I know that a request for information from another council member, as long as it's factual, probably wouldn't be a violation of the Brown Act, as long as no sort of collusion on how a vote should go is discussed. That sort of factual information is acceptable.
That's correct. And certainly council members can ask the city manager a series of questions. There can be informational responses so long as there's no discussion around a collective consensus for what the city council may or may not do at the next meeting. You should all be fine.
Okay. So keep your
Thank you,
opinions
Michael.
to yourself.
Okay, so we're not going to take action. That will be tabled by consensus of council. And now we're to, you said F, correct, Marty? Correct. Thank you. There's a lot here, so I'll just say it's item F, adopt the resolution that's for design authorizing the city manager to execute construction contract, approving a contingency, approving fund usage from Measure A, and approving the total budget project in the amount of $395,000.
Right. I pulled this because I wanted to make sure that the design that is in place is constructible. I was able to, late this afternoon, send the question to our city manager, got a response on it. So it's been reviewed. It basically involves the intersection on the east side of El Camino and Angus, and how an additional crosswalk will be placed there, and how my concern is how trucks are going to make that turn. And in the response I got, being that larger vehicles will have to cross a double yellow or cross into the opposite lane of traffic, my suggestion going forward with this in that design is, if that's the case, shouldn't a no right-hand turn for larger vehicles be placed at that intersection if we know that they can't make the turn?
City manager.
Yeah, I'll have our Public Works Director, who's an engineer, Jimmy Tan, address that.
Director Tan.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The designer actually evaluated the right turn lane into Angus Avenue, and as the information provided to all of you this afternoon, it concluded that the passenger vehicles are able to make that right turn, and larger vehicles would have trouble even at its current existing conditions as well. So, no right turn can be looked at, and we can evaluate that. That's something that, we can take that to TSBC to see whether, that will be considered or not.
Great. I mean, it's good for two reasons. That if we know it for sure now, that we should go ahead and look at prohibiting that right-hand turn. So if that can be accommodated, I think that would be great. So my questions are answered, and we can go forward with that.
Any action on item F from consent?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve item F. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0 voice vote.